Hey, BTS podcast listeners, just a little warning that in this episode you might hear some echoing. I just want you to know it was not my fault.
I just want to apologize right here at the front for the complete lack of context that you have to any of this because we are trolls.
Welcome to Behind the Sins, presented by CinemaSins.
Welcome to Behind the Sins, a weekly look at everything going on inside the world of CinemaSins. I'm Aaron Dicer, and this week I'm joined by fellow Bafflegabbers Jonathan Watkins.
Hello, hello.
And Ian Whittington.
Hello.
We write for CinemaSins, TV Sins, and do various other things inside the CinemaSins universe as well.
Ellen Ripley.
Ellen Ripley? Yes. Why are we naming fictitious people? Beyond the fact that you're referencing an outtake that may or may not be in the outtakes, Mr. Editor, giving yourself work. Why are we naming fictitious people now who might be hosting the Critics' Choice Awards?
Yeah,
Helen Mirren.
She could do it. She would kick butt. It would be great.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Megan McCain, that was the name I was
Megan McCain.
Guys.
Bruce Willis's daughter.
Listen, I
is
just
Megan
want to
McCain.
apologize right here at the front for the complete lack of context that you have to any of this because we are trolls. And that is it. So yes, it is wonderful to see you guys. One of you is in the room with me right now.
Touching me, touching you.
Sweet Ian line. I don't know. I have no idea. So yeah, Ian's hanging out at my house for the time being. So
Ian apparently needs to be introduced to the music of Neil Diamond. So
Indeed,
you should work on that, Aaron, while he's there.
Love Neil Diamond.
Wonder if he's hosting the Critics' Choice Awards this year.
I don't know. Maybe his daughter is.
Maybe. So if there is a different level of insanity,
Yes.
it might be the fact that we're breathing the same air.
We
in the
are
same
sharing
room
energy.
and sharing that energy. Indeed.
Oh, no. It's a root of COVID.
It could be.
We're crossing the streams, baby.
Nope, not doing that. We're going to get into the show with some comment sections, keeping tabs, but first, we'll do the SinSide Scoop.
What's he building in there?
Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain.
This is a true story.
We're going to take a look at the videos from the week, the process of sinning them, how we felt about the stuff we are sinning in general. We'll start with commercial sins. Jonathan Watkins handling the writing duties on this one. Apparently clowns are your thing, Jonathan. So USPS Clowns is the name of the ad.
I was actually a little nervous about this because I didn't want to completely just rip into the United Postal Service. I didn't want to piss anybody off. I was just making, but there was actually some comments in regards to people that worked in that profession that thought the video was funny. So I guess it was okay.
Oh, amazing.
And I didn't do a ton of, I knew about the flat rate boxes just from a previous job I had where I handled shipping and receiving. So I didn't really get into detail on that, but I was pretty comfortable with what I was attacking there because it is kind of a crazy, I don't know, the way they're making it seem easy. I'm not saying it's difficult, but it's definitely not the simple solution that the commercial is proposing that it is, I guess.
No.
But yeah, that was fun. If people are curious, I've never seen Katie Keene. But
I was curious.
I do like Lucy Hale. My wife watched Katie Keene, so I have seen parts of it, I'm sure. But
who does that to Lucy Hale?
And she was a little upset it got canceled.
That's who.
Yeah. Yes, that's right. And I also just the thing that I thought was the most thing that was funniest to me was just the concept of it was so weird because they ordered that. I don't know why it wasn't we were sent this by a friend or something. Because
were they expecting a slightly less creepy clown?
They saw the clown, when they ordered it. I don't know why all of a sudden it's I ordered something that I knew was going to flip me out just so I could have this happen. I don't know. But
Clowns.
It was fun. It was, and clowns. People aren't scared of clowns. That's some BS. But I guess some people are actually. There is a phobia, but I don't know. Hollywood makes it seem like everybody is just thinking about clowns constantly and running in fear from them or something.
Especially this one, does the commercial ever give any indication as to why this clown is particularly creepy, or it's just a clown?
Yeah,
They could have done a better job advertising that. Like, what if it just spun around every now and again? It does something.
The last clown commercial we had, it did creepy things,
Had
right?
a chainsaw.
Yeah, it had a chainsaw. And this one's just a little clown, guys.
Yeah.
Like,
That's clownist.
yeah.
and the
I
only
didn't
reason it was
understand
even scary was because they did the close-ups on it. And so I guess if you had a camera and you kept doing close-ups on it, maybe it would
accompanied by creepy music, then sure.
Or just no music at all. Just cut the music out.
Sure, makes total sense.
Mm-hmm.
You actually mentioned the two sins that I wanted to bring up. No, it's fine because the way Chris delivered the returning anything is never easy. Never. I love that so much. And then the canceling Katie Keene, who does that to Lucy Hale, Monsters, that too. I thought that was really, really funny. So good stuff. What about you, Ian?
Yeah, I love the guy that's at the door, and you just listed every movie that he's been in and every part that he played.
Oh yeah,
for
the
every
dad.
scene.
Yeah,
That's incredible.
He just looked familiar, and I'm like, what has he been in? And then once I looked it up, I was like, oh, that could be funny. Just to
Many things. No, that's one of my favorite things. I love it. Yeah, it's an advert about mailing things. It's such a specific service for them to advertise with a clown. Yeah, I don't know. And I feel like Amazon has always been making it easier themselves than how USPS
Amazon,
were making it.
Half the stuff you don't even have to return anymore.
They just don't care.
It's crazy. It's like, I don't understand that policy, but whatever.
No.
I enjoy it.
Keep sending me the wrong stuff and letting me keep it. Yeah. It's amazing. All right, let's move into TV sins. Continuing Hawkeye. In fact, finishing off Hawkeye. Hawkeye. So This is Christmas, the final episode.
That confuses me. This was the season finale because this has nothing to do with Thor. So I didn't.
Oh my goodness. Thank you, Jonathan.
What?
The episodes are out of order. What if?
Oh, got it. Yes, I'm with you now.
I planned that joke last night. Maybe I did not.
Yeah, it shows.
I wrote that joke a week ago. This was a Hughes Whittington script, which is a theme for the TV sins this week. So Danae and Ian writing on this one. So Ian, kick us off. What are some of your thoughts on the Hawkeye finale and this video in particularly?
Yeah, it's fine. I really, really like we've said, I really like the Hawkeye show. The finale didn't do a huge amount for me, and it slipped into we must have a big battle and conflict in the third act of your film, Marvel cliche. The Kingpin and Kate matchup was a mashup because it was a mix-up. It didn't make much sense at all. Kate should have been ruined 17 different ways by Kingpin. There's no way she survived all of this. There's no way. And yeah, I kind of wanted to see. I know Hawkeye's got his own fighting, his own battle to be doing with Yelena, and that's probably the bit I enjoyed the most, their reconciliation. But kind of want to see Hawkeye kick some Kingpin butt. Like, I kind of don't get why we've introduced Kingpin if he's barely a C-D character. He's the ringmaster, the puppeteer, the Kingpin, if you will, but it's kind of pretty ineffectual otherwise. Yes, thank you.
He's I don't know, the Godfather. I'm looking for the word. He's the
Godfather. That works.
The Kingpin. Kingpin. That's it. He's the Kingpin.
I understand exactly what you're saying about the Kingpin thing. I'm so curious as to what their plans are with the old Daredevil stuff, because both in the Spider-Man movie, as amazing and excellent in quality filmmaking as it was.
You are correct. Jonathan, stop.
Both in the Spider-Man movie and in here, the characters that are introduced aren't really given, they are just complete cameos.
And I'm beginning to think that's all they're going to be. I had hoped that this might be a Daredevil revival of Charlie Cox's Daredevil specifically, but
they could make a movie or a TV or another season of that job.
Well, they could.
I
it
wouldn't
just doesn't feel like that's what they're doing.
What I would say is
they've got other stuff planned right now.
So. Right. That's what I would say. It clearly doesn't feel like they know where they're going with it. And so since they don't know where they're going with it yet, it is just hey, this character exists.
It's almost like, how big of an applause does this get? And then if it's big enough, we'll make a TV show.
Yeah. Yeah.
The LARPers, probably the most frustrating part for me, because they, A, shouldn't be in this fight at all, and B, are completely forgetting that they work for the emergency services. It's like, we're just normal people. We need to dress up in order to help. You are already doing important work. You're police officers, you're firefighters. Why do you now have to dress up as LARPers? I don't know what message it was sending.
Because they wanted to.
It was strange.
They have agency, Ian. What did you want them to...
Sorry,
I
don't
like
want to
the
do this
LARPer
show
stuff.
anymore. No, bug the what's is off for me. I love the Super Trolley opening where we do this really sincere thanking of Marvel for all of the content over a difficult time, and yet send them anyway for all the previously ons.
Yeah.
Beautifully trolly.
Yeah.
And of course, coming to Hawkeye's defense, and Kate is like, you can't just fight aliens with a stick and a string. Oh, ease up, Kate. Like, come on, give the guy a break.
That's right. That's right.
That was beautiful. I loved it.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah, and of course, the beautiful ending of the narrator singing, I can sing this all day.
Yes. I look forward to that. Jonathan, what about you?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I mean, it was definitely a Marvel TV show finale.
Yeah.
But it had a lot of nice moments. The LARPer thing I didn't love or anything, but I don't know, that didn't get under my skin or anything. But I also don't LARP, so that's probably part of it. Ian likes to run to the forest and play with his friends. So
That's me.
Yep. Yeah.
Nailed it.
He's trotting around with his fake sword.
Yes, but real horse.
Bit of real horse. Yeah, he is very committed to the horse part. I don't know where they're keeping that horse at Aaron's, but that's interesting. We should get to the bottom of that.
Neither do they, which is beautiful.
No, I kid. But I know nothing about that. So I mean, if that offends people that are into it and stuff, I'm sorry. But I mean, I don't know. I found I liked the characters, I guess. I thought they were fun. And I thought they added... this show doesn't seem to be that serious, right? I mean, it seems to kind of have like a fun edge to it that maybe some of the other ones didn't, except maybe Loki. And so, like the Yelena... Is it Yelena? I'm sorry, I always say that wrong. Yelena, right?
That sounds right.
The Yelena and Kate scene in the elevator, like I really liked that moment. Like there was stuff like that throughout. And yeah, Kingpin was but if Kingpin had been introduced earlier, it would have taken away from some of the other stuff. So I don't really mind that as much. And I just love seeing D'Onofrio in the role. And I like how imposing they make him. Like I just like how they actually like when he's like, fighting and he just starts like basically grabbing people and pushing them into the ground and stuff. I was like, oh hell yeah, that's Kingpin.
His physicality has always been great.
Yeah. So, which is interesting because that's not a character I've ever cared that much for in the comics. But anyways, yeah, it was fun. I love the beaded curtain scene, which was interesting because I forgot that we had that one in Peacemaker. I guess we talked about last week.
Yep, both were me. I dislike beaded curtains.
Clearly, even Disney can't escape a Comcast sin. I thought that was very funny. The terminology of "ow, my God," I thought was great, and then just the sin that ended "love your friend," the plot.
Yeah.
Had me cracking up. So no, it was a really fun video to watch.
Yeah, I like that scene too. Dear henchman, thanks for not shooting Clint immediately. Love, your friend. Plot. So good. Hawkeye was a fun show, and I'm glad it exists. I enjoyed watching it. It does give into a lot of the Marvel tendencies towards the end, but then again, what do we expect? So we know when somebody tells you who they are, believe them, and that's kind of where we are with Marvel right now. Yes, but she should be flattened in super dead Kate pancake. A pancake.
Yes.
I loved that. This, I think, if I'm correct, was the actual first blip that was included in a script. Is that correct?
Is this where Yelena
I
disappears in the house?
Yeah. I
Yes,
think so.
correct. It is. Yeah, that's where I came up with where we spawned on me.
Yeah. Even though it appeared on CinemaSins first, this is where it was born. And then, of course, ending it with all the sins. That's always fun to do something a little bit different. And then all the sins plus one.
Because we had the debate that we had over that was like, well, you can't word that unless you actually give it all of the sins. Because I think we had like infinity sins or something to begin with or something ridiculous.
Right.
But hey, if there's a season-long video, it kind of makes that a bit easier as well.
That's right. Yep, you're going to get it right at the end, for sure. All right, let's move into Book of Boba Fett, The Tribes of Tatooine. Also a Hughes Whittington script. Ian and Danae writing on this one as well. Like a Bantha
Was this the second episode?
This is
that right?
Second episode, yes.
My opening joke is this is where the show officially lost me.
Oh, yeah.
And it's only episode 2. So it basically lost me straight away.
Yeah.
Yeah. This episode, man, I would love to see the whiteboard that mapped out the entire Boba Fett series.
Sure.
Because how do you look at that and think, yeah, that'll work?
Mm-hmm.
Because your opening episodes are so much backstory.
There's got to be
and
stuff we don't know.
exposition.
There's got to be behind the scenes stuff that we're not aware of
It's like
that
there's
changed
3
stuff.
episodes we missed. It's just bonkers. And just the structure of this episode in particular, where we just forget the A-plot that we spend the first 10 minutes on and then do the entire Firefly Oceans heist rip-off on the train. It's... When you've got 7 episodes to tell a story, this heist just felt like almost a filler throwaway episode. Like there are more efficient ways to show Boba bonding with the Sand people, the Tusken Raiders, whatever. Yeah, I just felt lost throughout the entire episode, and it doesn't get any better as the series goes on. Yeah, it's frustrating.
I did a rather passionate review of this on Sif Pop with 2 people who really enjoyed it and
tears were shedded, and
and I'm over here going, I don't get what you're connecting to. I don't think this show does Boba any favors. Like the backstory stuff is just, it's backstory, but it's never used in any kind of real powerful way. I get the theme that what his experience with the Tusken Raiders is informing the way he sees the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, or whatever,
Tatooine in general.
Tatooine in general, and he's bringing together all these people because he learned something from the tribe. But the Tusken Raiders are terrible people.
Yes,
and he is. I don't know. It's one of those things I never really got.
A good person either, right? I mean,
but it seems like he's trying to be.
I don't think so. I think he's less villainy than the other villains, but I don't think there's anything in here that's trying to make him out to be a good guy. Although Mando working with him, which we find out later, that's a little interesting. But also, I don't really know what we're supposed to think of Mando either. Although we are supposed to, I think at least he's a decent person. But I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
To think that Boba is the hero here because he wants to bring peace to Tatooine. He wants the people to live in peace and be left alone.
And he wants to do it without
violence. And
he wants to do it with cooperation.
You're right.
Which is just weird to me. It's just interesting. Like I was accepted by this group of raiders who enslaved me for weeks, if not months. And whose whole thing is just capturing people and enslaving them to do their work. And that taught me how to be a better human. What?
And the payoff is apparently that Cad Bane says, these people killed them all.
I took it to be more, it benefited him. So he started acting on that aspect of it. I didn't take it to be he cared about the Tusken Raiders that much.
Oh, I think that's the whole point of the show.
Well, I'm not saying he doesn't care, but I'm just saying I didn't.
Right.
You're like, I don't think it's like Stockholm Syndrome. I just think that like he found a way to let like them treat him as an equal, and then he figured out a way to benefit himself along with them.
Right. Sure.
I mean, I think it just felt more like a business move than I need to save these people. If that's kind of what I thought. But I think when they get slaughtered and stuff, of course he gets upset. I get that, but I mean, I don't know. That's just the way I took it. But this show's a mess, so I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
Ian, continue.
Sorry.
Thanks. No, you're fine.
No, that was all me. That was all me.
Aaron apologizes.
I love Danae's. I lived good. I apologize to everyone as well. Good. I love Danae's questioning of the assassin's orders. Why is Boba saying, "What way are orders?" I mean, perhaps there could be some confusion if the assassins dropped out of the sky, covered Fett in margarine, pulled out pan flutes, and fired pennies out of their asses while circling a cauldron. No, they were there to kill you, my dude. That was pretty obvious.
Yeah.
And now when Whip is almost playing the pronoun game, but we extended it into referencing an important development so vaguely the main character has no choice but to ask a further clarifying question instead of just telling them what we all know you're eventually going to tell them anyway game. And Darth Ravensburger. I was like, there's got to be a Darth somebody somewhere that vaguely sounds like a board game. I was hoping for like a Darth Mono, but couldn't quite get to it. And the painted water butt just robot stood out to me so much because I have worked around these water butts in my previous job. I have handled hundreds of them, and Star Wars goes and paints one black and expects me, Ian, to not notice that you droided a water butt.
I have studied butts my entire life.
I have been paid to do so. What baffled me is they even left the little hose hole there. They didn't modify this thing in any way other than to paint it and put it on some like extractor fan nozzle legs. It just baffles me. I was like, try harder. Try harder.
Some people would say that's the charm of the Star Wars universe.
It's not. It's the charm of shows from the 50s that couldn't afford any better.
Listen. You're a Doctor Who fan.
Yes.
So, you know.
And they had less budget than this podcast and managed to do a lot more than Disney is doing with Boba Fett.
Fair enough. There was a lot I really loved from this. It is interesting. I guess I'll start here. It is interesting that the Like a Bantha thing has become such a meme, and it became a meme after we wrote this too. So it wasn't like something we had in our mind to work with.
No.
But yet we addressed it in I thought a really fun way.
No. Please stop.
Yes, please stop. Like a Bantha, yes, no, please stop.
I don't get the difference between fans jumping onto that and saying this isn't my Star Wars, this is stupid and ridiculous, or jumping on it and saying this is the best thing ever, this is amazing. How? Why did this become that instead of dumb?
Yeah, I don't know. The fans
Well,
are
are you
fans.
talking about the show or the Like a
fans.
Bantha?
No,
Like
the Like a Bantha
I don't even know
thing
what you're talking
specifically.
about. I had
Yeah.
no idea that was a meme. I thought that was just something you
No,
guys
yeah,
did
it's
on
been
this. And it was
heavily
very
memed.
funny on this.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I also wanted to mention the brilliant conversation about why they needed the bikini triangles on those creatures.
That was a debate.
Yeah. I love all the options. Like underneath the bikini triangles is hairless skin. It's the only hairless skin on the body, so they have to keep it covered up because it's hairless.
There were more options as well.
Yes, I'm sure there were. But then, of course, taking slam at body shaming culture at the end was really great as well. Yes, blindly follow the suggestion of the individual that you still strongly suspect sent assassins to kill you. Where's Admiral Akbar when you need him? I thought that was really fun as well. Jonathan, what about you?
You guys hit just about all the stuff. I feel about the same about the show. I mean, I think I like it a little more than Ian, but it's I don't know. It's a weird show. I don't know what it's trying to do in the end, and it may not be trying to do anything, which is fine, I guess. I still haven't seen the finale, so I don't know what to speak about it. But I do know my favorite parts of it have nothing to do with Boba Fett, so that seems like a bad thing. But I don't know. Other people out there want to argue with you about that and say that's the point, that's what it was always going to do, and whatever. We'll talk about that in a week or two. Yeah. I think you guys mentioned everything. I liked using the bantha noise instead of the bleep. I will mention that. I thought that was that was really funny. But yeah, you guys hit all the high points. I really enjoyed the video.
Yeah, I guess I have other thoughts, but I guess you're right. I guess we save them for when the show turns into a completely different show here soon. We'll save our thoughts for that stuff. Well, moving from a sand planet with spice trade to a sand planet with spice trade.
That was that was one of my favorite scenes. Why is Dune feel Dune?
Yeah,
like Dune?
And then of course
Dune.
these air the same week because that's how life works.
I know. Isn't it amazing?
Absolutely beautiful.
So yes, we're going into CinemaSins, and we will be talking about Dune. This was an Atkinson Hughes script, so Danae and Chris writing on this
Rebecca
one.
Ferguson.
Rebecca Ferguson is another great choice. Jonathan, just for that, you get to start us off. What are some of your thoughts on Dune, the movie,
I
and
love this video. This
Zendaya.
video is very funny. Who was you said Atkinson Hughes? Is that what you said? Yeah, they did a great job.
Yeah.
That's a good
Chris and
team
Danae.
up. No, I like this movie. It's weird though, right? And we were talking about this. Well, I guess Aaron wasn't there, but when I was in New York, we were talking about this at dinner about when I was asking Danae what she thought about the movie, and just talking about how I can't think of another movie where if the second part doesn't work, this one might not be good. Like I was trying to think of anything even close to that. Like maybe even it's the one that pops in my head, but even that had an ending. Like that had a definitive ending in the first movie.
What were the two Pirates movies that were?
Well, that's true.
Part one and part
but
two.
Even I don't know. Yeah, but I don't remember the. Oh yeah, well it had a cliffhanger, right? The second part.
It didn't really have an ending, but
because I was thinking Back to the Future 2 and 3 were filmed back to back, but Back to the Future 2 definitely has an ending.
Oh, it's a complete movie. Sure.
So I've never seen a movie like this. So this really does feel like, this honestly feels like half of a movie, you know. Maybe Infinity War and Endgame are kind of similar, but even then, I still think Infinity War had an ending.
No, I would definitely argue against that. I think Infinity War is a complete film.
I know a lot of people argue the other way, but I think now that Dune is out, they're probably like, oh no, Infinity War definitely had an ending. Because I mean, this really doesn't have an ending. Like, it just doesn't. It's so weird, but I still really liked it. I think Villeneuve has gotten really good at world building. We started seeing that in Blade Runner, and I think it's even better here. Just the way everything about this, he gets you so invested, like, and so quickly. And he doesn't really veer too much from what Lynch was doing, but it's 100 times better here. And I think it just has to do with the way the story's being told, I guess. I don't know. I mean, obviously there's more of a budget and stuff like that, but it's not like the 1984 didn't have a budget. Maybe it didn't have the technology to do what it wanted to do, but I don't know. It's just interesting. The characters just feel so much more vibrant and alive, and I'm more intrigued by what they're going to do as opposed to the 84 one where I just didn't care. I just thought it was silly. So I had a really good time with the movie. But once again, if the second one sucks, I think that's going to hurt this one.
What are the chances, though, really? At the end of the day?
I think it's going to blow.
I think it's going to blow
everybody's mind. I hope so.
And
I hope that's right. And then we're going to have this really awesome, like, long fucking movie, right? As far as the sins, I mean, there were so many. Also, I dreamed of this close-up of a beetle. I thought that was really funny after Paul's talking about the dream. Is this movie turning into Call Me By Your Name 2? Because if so, I brought the peaches, motherfuckers. And then I just loved the phrase "whackin' jackin' in the water shower." Yeah, that's a phrase I'm gonna use at some point in my life because it's hilarious and I love it.
Yeah. Dune is. I really enjoyed episode 1 of the Dune TV series. I'm looking forward to the season finale in a couple of years. I really love this movie. Love it. Like the world building there hasn't been world building that's captured me like this probably since Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
I haven't felt this way about a movie where it's just like, I just want to know this world. I just want to go there. I want to see all of these things. And Villeneuve he's just amazing. And he's created art here. I don't understand it's not that I don't understand the separation of the parts. I don't understand the marketing decision not to make that
because
part
if this hadn't been a hit,
thing.
we're not getting part 2, right? I mean, and this would have all been all we had.
What a weird decision.
Well, it has to be that they thought people weren't going to turn up, which is, that seems so dumb to me. Of course they are.
It's wild. That's just a really crazy decision.
Or that people are going to wait until both parts are out and never see it at the cinema. But this is such a spectacle. You have to see it at the cinema.
Well, I saw it at home, but thank you for...
Okay, you don't have to see it at the cinema.
When you have HBO Max, you don't.
If you're a heathen, you don't have to see it at the cinema.
There's so much great in this video. I'm just going to throw out just a few of my favorite moments that made me chuckle. Quizmaster Burt Bacharach.
Oh, man. That killed me.
Slayed me. I Do Your Laundry, Paul, is genius.
How do you know about my dreams?
It's just perfect. No one knows a woman's body better than her own son.
That was
perfect
hilarious.
for that moment. The Sisterhood of the Traveling Trash Bag Pants, just beautiful. And then is this space tube ovulating?
It was sperming as well.
Yeah, and then the sperming one later. I love that.
Oh, it's so good.
So yeah, lots of fun stuff here. Ian, what about you?
Yeah, I probably like this the least of all three of us. It's interesting you said Lord of the Rings because that is exactly what I was thinking of, but for negative reasons. So if you're going to world build and also keep the pace and do exciting stuff, Fellowship of the Ring, Lord of the Rings does it, absolutely nails it. And you can argue that the Fellowship of the Ring isn't a complete movie. It is. But you could argue that there's a bit of a cliffhanger, but it is.
No, you can have a cliffhanger. See, cliffhanger is different than not having an ending. Those are two completely different things, I think.
No, correct. I just think it's hard to see the Fellowship of the Ring when they're all teaming up to go on a mission as complete. It is, but it still seems a bit odd. But I think Lord of the Rings nails it, and Dune, just the pace wasn't there for me. And I know that's a horrible thing to say because you should be patient and watch it and take it in. And it is beautiful. It is a stunningly gorgeous movie. But yeah, it's a beautiful part of a movie. And 1984 tells the story in a more... It's a mess, but I understood the story better watching 1984.
Really?
I am on the opposite.
It communicated... No, probably most people are, but for some reason... 1984, I understood what was going on. It doesn't deliver it in a good way at all. Like, it's all exposition and basically reading from the book. But I found that easier to keep up with than this version. But it's a fantastic film. It is beautiful. I just don't know that I will watch it again unless the second one is so fantastic and it feels...
Except you're going to be watching it again in a few weeks. But, other than that, you're not going to watch it.
Am I?
Yeah, you are.
Good. That'll be great.
That'll be when Ian takes a nap.
Yeah, obviously. No, I'm just resting my eyes. The Sins video was perfect. It was so great. You mentioned the ones that I love the most. Kwisatz Haderach into Quizmaster Burt Bacharach. I was crying. It's so good. Notice how they conveniently set this 8,000 years in the future so that they can't verify if anything in this movie is true. We're counting on you, CinemaSins 10-191, to give this a good re-sinning. I love that. That's so good. And just sinning tables because the table that is covering naked Oscar Isaacs is perfect.
I love that too because it felt like a callback to the Loki sin that I wrote about. This arm or whatever.
Arm,
Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
This specific arm. Yeah. All right, let's move into Batman Long Halloween. Speaking of part ones, it's a week of part ones. Batman Long Halloween Part 1. This was a Scott Watkins script. Jeremy and Jonathan writing on this one. So Jonathan, yeah, fair enough. Jonathan, what are some of your thoughts?
We've done a handful of these animated DC movies, and those are really the only ones I've seen, other than I did see, like, if you want to count, like, I assume Mask of the Phantasm counts. I mean, I saw that like in the 90s when it was in the theater, but I would say in the aughts is when this whole series started, where they started doing a lot of these. And I like that they're just going back and adapting these Batman stories. Long Halloween is a story that I've always enjoyed. It was, I think, late 90s, mid 90s, late 97, I want to guess. I could be wrong about that. But it was a monthly series that ran for a year. It was called The Long Halloween. And then obviously you can read it in trade paperback. I've read it a couple of times all the way through. It's a story I really enjoy. And I thought they did a pretty good job of adapting it. And it was easily my favorite of the ones that we've done on CinemaSins that I've been involved with. Like, it was a lot better than Batman and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And that Suicide Squad movie we did or whatever. So I really enjoyed it. It was very easy to send. I did notice not a lot of people, but I did notice some when I was looking at the comments. Some people were saying that we didn't know that this took place earlier in Batman's history. That's not true. The only thing we actually did screw up on, though, is, and I wish I just didn't catch it, but we called Captain Gordon Commissioner at one point. But other than that, I don't think there's anything that, I mean, we make fun of some stuff. Like, I think people, when we called out Batman for not being a very good detective, because it took him a month to, like, get any kind of lead on that thing. Yeah, I mean, granted, he's probably, people are like, well, he's not the world's greatest detective yet. I'm like, yeah, but maybe he never is. I mean, I don't know, like, it was such a stupid thing. We just used that terminology, but that's fine. As far as the stuff, I also, the one thing that I get really irritated with whenever I see Harvey Dent not as Two-Face is all the foreshadowing of Dark Knight is totally guilty of this as well. And I don't know why, because I'm sure there's other villains that haven't become villains yet that they do this with, but for some reason with Two-Face, it's so pointed, because it's always something about a coin flip, or two heads are better than one, or, having a shadow self, or, whatever it is. There's just all these, like, cliches and stuff that are brought up. So I enjoyed being able to get all my sins in about that. But, and then the only sin I wanted to mention that I thought was funny, there was a grocery store in the background, and it just said grocery on it. And I think Jeremy and I both wrote verbatim, this grocery store is called Grocery. which is just always interesting when you both write the exact same thing. So,
Nice.
yeah, it was fun.
Ian, what about you?
The DC animated universe is so hit and miss for me. There are some that I've really enjoyed, and there are some that just need to burn and just not be made. And they pump out like 6 of these a year, and I don't know if that has something to do with the overall quality. Obviously, they have different teams on each of them, but it's the decisions that they make sometimes to the content that they pull in. So this isn't just the Long Halloween. They pull in some other stories, some other kind of comic book nods as well, don't they?
No, I mean but most of that's actually in the Long Halloween though.
I think there's others that I've watched. They just make some odd decisions merging 2 stories together. Yeah, I haven't actually seen this one, strangely enough. So I was surprised to see Sudden Joker. I was like, can you do a Batman movie without Joker? It's like, are we all waiting for Joker to turn up, or is it okay to not use him? But no, I think you guys did a great job on sinning it. I love this movie's Wayne Manor is 25% Hogwarts, 25% Harvard, and 50% balconies. It's great. I kind of paused the video and went, did they make the joke that I think they just made? Something tells me in the near future, Jim, you're going to regret not letting Barbara run around as much as she wanted to as a child.
I wrote that, and then I was like, I don't know, but I left it in, and Jeremy was like,
it's beautifully dark.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's very dark. I really felt, I'm sure this was a Chris sin, the way that the chef was cutting the pepper without de-seeding it and taking the cartilage out. I actually thought Jeremy wrote it, but I thought he's not on the video.
No, Jeremy, I wrote
Jeremy's on this video.
I was Jeremy, sorry.
Yeah.
So that was definitely a Jeremy sin then.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Yeah, I felt that pain, definitely. I can't believe that Selena is just like, hey, Bruce Wayne. Shit.
Yeah, that was dumb. And I will say,
that is so out of character.
That was a sequence I did not remember from the story, but it could have been in there and I just forgot about it. But yeah.
Unreal. Unbelievable.
Yeah. I've never seen this. I don't watch the DC animated stuff unless I am tasked to watch it.
Pretty much so.
Which I have been a couple times. I think the Red Hood, Under the Red Hood, I think we send. And I think there was one other one. I don't know. It just, for whatever reason, it doesn't capture me, stoke my interest. And it might just be that I'm not all that interested in yet another version of DC characters I've seen a million different times in a million different ways. And that is DC's thing, right? Like they're just make it all, use our characters in all ways. So, I mean, right down to Peacemaker and, having like legit top tier superhero cameos in Peacemaker. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's crazy. So yeah, I haven't seen it, so I don't really have a lot of comments on it other than through watching the Sins video. It still didn't necessarily look like something I was interested in checking out. The sin is just believing in Gotham City. Beautiful. These bills have no serial numbers. I just love those basic kind of sins. Had to give a shout out to the running gag of the crazy breast design. On, I believe Selena
Catwoman
was that character, and then I can't quite put my boob on it. Was the first one, and the second was something about having trouble accessing it in my mammary or something like that.
Recalling that mammary.
Yeah, recalling that mammary. I thought those were great. Keeping it in the booble region. Oh no, the nipple gun killer has struck again. Maybe that. I also liked They Might Be Giants takeoff on Calendar Man.
Yes.
Calendar Man. Like, I love They Might Be Giants, and I was like, hey, I get that reference. So yeah, that one spoke to me. But really funny stuff. Really great video, even though I am not interested at all in watching part 1 or part 2 of Batman. The Long Halloween.
I don't think your life's going to be any lesser because you didn't watch them.
Really bold of us just to send part 1 and not even worry about part 2.
Weird.
So
we didn't even market it. No, we didn't even market it that way.
All right, let's move into keeping tabs.
The internet is a communications tool used the world over where people can come together to bitch about movies and share pornography with one another.
Oh, jeez.
This is the most public yet of my many humiliations.
We'll take a look at something else from the process of putting together this week's content. Weird Google search, deleted sin, whatever we would like. I'll just say right off the bat, I didn't write on it. I took the week off this past week and didn't write on anything.
Despite being in New York, I wrote on
everything. Everything. So Ian's going to pick up that slack. But let's start with you, Jonathan, and then we'll have Ian do
mine's not
his
like
shtick.
major or anything. I didn't do a lot of research because I did the commercial, but then I worked on Long Halloween Part 1. I did, though, one thing about Long Halloween I thought was interesting, and we have a sin about it, is the fact that Calendar Man ends up being like the most interesting character in the movie because they kind of do like this they kind of do like this Hannibal Lecter thing with him, and he's like, which I can't say that Calendar Man, I've read a lot of Batman comics, but I can't say that Calendar Man was ever a character I was just enthralled with. And it's been a while since I'd read Long Halloween, but I just looked up some stuff on him because I was just curious. But he was originally supposed to be more of a joke villain, which this happened with a lot of Batman villains. Mad Hatter's another great example. But then once comics got, I guess DC tried to take on like a little bit of a darker edge. They turned Calendar Man from this like goofy guy that like dressed up as like whatever holiday he was representing and like, causing havoc. They just turned him into a full blown serial killer. And they did that with Mad Hatter too. Like Mad Hatter is one that was just supposed to be like this goofy guy that just, dressed up like the Mad Hatter and ran around and like, robbed stuff. And then like there is this whole like section of the comics, I can't remember, maybe in the 90s, where they kind of went towards he might be a pedophile and like some other stuff, and it was just, I don't know, it's weird. 90s were weird, people. The 90s were weird, especially when it comes to comics. That was an interesting decade. But anyways, Calendar Man, his first appearance was Detective Comics 259, and then he didn't come back for 20 years to Batman 312, which I found really interesting. Like somebody 20 years later was like, wow, I've just got to write a Calendar Man story.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was hilarious. Apparently now in the current, or in the, I guess it's called DC Rebirth is the current DC universe. He ages with seasonal weather of Gotham City. Every spring he is reborn with his DNA altered, but retains his memories. And then he ages rapidly until winter when he dies, only to be reborn again the next spring by crawling from the husk of his own corpse. I was like, man, you guys have really overthought Calendar Man.
You've taken that very, very literally.
So I just found that fascinating. Like, what an interesting, just like longevity that this stupid characters had. I don't know. Anyways,
yeah. Ian, do you have anything beyond the Knitception today?
Beyond the what?
the Knitception?
Knitception? No, that's in the comments.
Oh yes, that's right. Fair point. Yeah, no, you're right. Yep. Ian, what's your keeping tabs today?
There we go. Nice. So the magnet arrows, I got really hung up on first. So the thing is, in the finale, Hawkeye has a arrow that he fires at the lampposts or flagpoles, magnetizes them, and it gets all of the guns. And my first issue was, would it have this cartoon visible lightning going from lamppost to lamppost to lamppost? And I was like, there's no way, so I'll send it like that. And then when I researched it, I was like, it's not impossible. It obviously wouldn't look that cartoon lightning-y, but static electricity can have some magnetic properties as well. So it's not, he could amp it up and that could happen. So I came at it from the angle of, how strong would it have to be? And it would have to have the strength of like 10 MRI machines in order to pull the guns away from the bad guys, but also to pull the guns, it would pull anything magnetic. Like I think their teeth would be ripped out if they had fillings. Their buttons would be ripped off. There would be anything vaguely magnetic, including like the surrounding garbage bins. Any passers-by that were wearing jewelry, you'd have ears being ripped off. It's just, we need these people to not have guns. How do we get them to not have guns?
Right.
Because Hawkeye isn't a real hero and could just be immediately shot. So yeah, it was just interesting to go into the differences between static electricity and magnetism and electromagnets and all of that. And I'm still not entirely sure if I landed one way or the other, whether it was possible or not. But yeah. I'm leaning towards no.
The main thing is these are the moments when things like this happen that you're really thankful that you haven't decided to get certain parts of your body pierced.
100%. You would have, things would be removed.
Magnets. How do they work? All right, let's move into the comment section.
I want to know what you're thinking.
I appreciate your honesty. You're a real straight shooter.
You are the ones who are the ball lickers.
We're just going to pick a comment from this week's content from the various places you reached out, Discord, YouTube, Reddit, etc. I will kick us off with a comment from Walter, who says, so, does the I in MRI stand for imaging? Because otherwise you just drop the ball on the running gag. Shame. And then in parentheses, I hope this nitpick gets picked to be nitpicked.
It did get picked.
Oh, well, I'm stealing it right off the bat. Because, no, MRI is not an acronym. MRI is an initialism. Those are two very different things. An initialism is just the letters. So it's the letter M, the letter R, and the letter I. It's not a word that's being pronounced. So that is the difference.
Wait, so MRI doesn't stand for anything? It's just MR.
No, it does.
No, it does. It does. But it's an initialism, not an acronym. An acronym is actually when you take what it stands for and make it into a new word, like scuba or laser.
No, I know what you're saying. I just wasn't thinking. Yeah, correct.
Yeah. So, yeah, like FBI isn't FUBby, you know? Like,
no, I
it's
understand
FBI.
what you're talking about now.
So there you go. There's the answer to that. Jonathan, what about you?
Well, I just thought it was funny. The USPS clown, a couple people took the Katie Keene thing and the Lucy Hale thing and went a little farther with it. One person said, fun fact, the clown doll would end up being the CEO of the CW network and be the one to call for the cancellation of Katie Keene. I thought that was fun. Nice. Another person said, even Lucy Hale wasn't Katie Keene on clowning around with the larger than a standard bread box restriction that the USPS adopted for their return policy. And then I mentioned this earlier, but one person said, laugh, LOL, I'm a mailman, and this was hilarious. So I thought that was great. I appreciated that.
Nice. That's always good to get. Ian, what do you got?
Well, I got one person that really appreciated Danae in Hawkeye about decorating behind the scenes in the kitchen prep area. And this is somebody who works in a kitchen prep area and says that they can confirm there are no Christmas decorations and there are so many reasons why this would be dumb, stupid, and immediately ripped down. So it's always nice to be validated by somebody in the profession we take a punt of logic that I don't think that's a thing that would happen, and then someone swoops in and confirms it.
I mean, you get health code violations out the wazoo. No. If you have a purse,
that tinsel would be all in the parfait. You don't want tinsel in your parfait.
No. Yeah, you don't want anything out the wazoo in the kitchen area either.
Or in the wazoo.
Tinsel in the wazoo.
You keep it in the wazoo. I think you're fine.
That's all I'm saying.
Oh my. And then for nitpicking the nitpickers of the nitpickers, I've got an easy green, and it's something I wish I dug into a little bit
Sunday
more.
Morning.
And this is the grate.
Okay.
Yes. It's the grate over the Sarlacc pit. And I totally see why we sinned it, because there's one shot where it is very intricate, and the next shot it's open bars. But yeah, if you go frame by frame, you can see that it has been slid across, and the decorative grate is still there, but it's not super duper clear. Like, that is a very quick transition that happens. So it's definitely a green, and lots of people pulled that up.
I'm frustrated with myself too, because I remember there's a couple sins about how that whole grading, Sarlacc pit stuff works. And I remember thinking, how do they get this? They couldn't have gotten this wrong. It's too huge for them to have gotten it. And I just looked and looked, but I didn't see it. And I was like, no, I think that's supposed to be the same grade. And
I did the same. I went frame by frame, but somebody literally pointed it out at this timestamp in this part of the screen. I was like,
yeah,
bugger.
Yeah, we get stuff wrong. So that's a green.
That's a green. I can't. This is for Hawkeye. So we end the last episode. The last episode.
Sorry, yes, we said Sarlacc pit. It's actually Rancor pit.
Sorry, Rancor pit. I apologize. Same thing.
I thought you guys were saying it wrong, but I didn't. But I'm not the Star Wars person. The two of you are, so I was kind of like, maybe I'm wrong.
No, that's the Gungan pit.
Yes, the Gungan pit. Yes.
So at the end of the Hawkeye episode last week, the narrator goes crazy because they have to watch 3 seasons of another TV show. And I didn't even realise, but yeah, at the opening of this video, we take a sin off for how great Vincent D'Onofrio is. I was like, oh, so the narrator did go back and watch 3 seasons. Yeah. That's exactly what happened.
That's right. There's no problem there. That's what happened. The narrator was mad about it, but he had to do it. So.
Yeah, still had to do it. So yeah, narrator went away, watched 3 seasons of Daredevil.
Had to do it before February 28th because it was leaving Netflix. So he had to get that in.
That's right.
But that individual is committed to their job. So a couple of people pointed that out, and you are all correct. That's exactly what they did. And we, man, this one's a little bit tricky. We got pulled apart a little bit for sinning the shields in Dune.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw that.
But I think the way we sin it in the video, it's not necessarily the technology, it's the
explanation of the technology
and how much the film itself gives us.
I think
and
this is
still a dumb technology.
I think this is a primarily red because at the end of the day, we are sinning the movie, not the concept. And the movie doesn't do a great job at it. It tries to with that setup scene, but that setup scene doesn't really give you everything you need to know about how those shields work to understand why they're not shielding.
Exactly when you need them to not shield. And when Duncan does all of his fighting, it disobeys the movie's own rules.
Oh, you're talking about the shielding when they're fighting each other? Is that what you're talking about?
The Holtzman shield. Yeah. But even when they literally drop a bomb through it, I was like, if it can't defend against a slowly moving bomb, it's not useful this scenario.
What is with these Dune adaptations and their lack of being able to explain shielding? Like, because in 84, there's the one that comes up over the building or whatever, but you can clearly see at the top there's nothing. So like people could just
it's
fly
a gaping
in,
hole, yeah.
Which of course we send the hell out of because it was the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's dumb.
Yeah. I think I did see somebody, one of the people who even mentioned how the shields work were like, I understand this isn't, mentioned in the movie, so it's still cinnable, which I always love to see that when people understand that they're giving knowledge at the same time of understanding the spirit of what we do.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's fun. All right. Well, let's move into Beyond the Sins.
To infinity and beyond.
Somewhere beyond my wild history.
To boldly go where no man has gone before.
We're just going to chat about something else from the world of pop culture we've seen recently. However,
Katie Holmes.
Before we get into that, that'd be a good one, Katie.
Yeah, she would be great.
What's Katie up to these days? Before we get into that, just an announcement. Welcome. Well, not welcome, because we've been doing this for an hour and a half.
Welcome to BTS.
But this will be the final episode of season 1 of BTS.
The entire world just hung on when you said final. I was like, final episode of what?
And you don't think that was intentional? Yes, this final episode of season 1 of BTS. We will be starting season 2 of BTS next week. We aren't even taking a week off. So we are reformatting a little bit and welcoming back an original BTS member to do a 4-person show.
You're leaving that a mystery, because there's several people that have been on this show.
I wonder.
It's regulars.
I'm not going to say who it is. But her name rhymes with Shmane Baruz. So
Denny Huggies.
Denny Huggies will be back on the show. No, we're excited. We're going to have Danae back and start a new season of BTS. There will be new segments, some fun stuff. In fact, a lot of the segments we'll be introducing over the next few months were recommended by you in a survey that we recently did, and we liked a lot of your ideas. So we're going to be having fun with that. But it was different enough with kind of the segment change and going to 4 people that we thought we'd make it season 2 of BTS. So don't freak out when you see in your podcast player that it's season 2, episode 1 next week. So we're excited to do that. Now let's get into Beyond the Sins. Jonathan, what's something you've seen?
So I didn't see Dune in the theater because I had that on HBO Max. I did, however, go see Studio 666 in the theater.
Oh, nice.
Because that was not available to me. No, but seriously, no, I went and saw Studio 666. I will say, so this is for those that don't know what this is, which based on the box office numbers, maybe some of you don't know what it is. This is a horror comedy, I guess is the best way to put it, starring the Foo Fighters and the actual Foo Fighters. It's the entire band, Dave Grohl and 5 other people I don't know their names of. So I have to say, going into this, I don't dislike the Foo Fighters by any means. I do like them. They have I enjoy Monkey Wrench as much as the next person and Everlong. But I will say I've never really dove that deep into their discography. The songs I know are probably the ones that were on the radio. I wouldn't say I like the Foo Fighters, but I wouldn't say I've huge fan going in. I was in this theater, however, with probably 20 people or so that clearly really love the Foo Fighters because they were clapping and hollering and laughing, and having a blast. So if you are a Foo Fighters fan that's on the fence, I'm guessing this will work for you. For me, I thought it worked more than it didn't. Was kind of like how I felt at the end of it. I did laugh quite a bit. There's a lot of funny moments. Dave Grohl and crew, they're not the most talented actors, but I don't really think that matters in this scenario. And I just love the fact that we're getting a movie like this. Like, I get that the Foo Fighters are an IP themselves, but just the fact that they were able to get a studio to give them money to make this silly horror comedy about basically it's the Foo Fighters versus demons. That's just amazing to me. Like, that we can still get movies like this and they can get a wide release even, you know, it gives me a little hope that we're not just going to be watching MCU and Star Wars movies at the theater for the next unforeseen future. Although this movie not doing well, I don't know what that says. I think this movie's going to find its audience, though. But I thought it was really funny. I thought it also had some interesting things to say just about the state of rock music, even though I don't know if it's really wanting to do that much with that, but it does kind of towards the end. I don't want to like give anything away about like there are some twists at the end with some characters. But there is kind of it's kind of a like there's kind of this insinuation made. Oh God, I can't say that. What am I trying to?
Insinuation.
I was missing the sin. That's weird that I was missing the sin of everything. There is an insinuation in a joking way that, you know, when you think back to the 80s and the Satanic Panic, which ended up being like nothing, and we look back on that now and just see how ridiculous it was, you know, but there is kind of an insinuation in this that maybe the fact that rock is kind of, I don't know. It's not what it once was. It's not there's not as many bands out there that people are, I don't know. But anyways, there's kind of an insinuation that maybe if we brought the devil back into it, that would make it interesting again, I guess is the best way to put it. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Because the Foo Fighters are kind of, I don't want to get up on this too much, but the Foo Fighters are kind of an interesting band because they're probably the only, like they've been around since the early 90s, mid 90s. So I guess they're going on like 26 years or something like that since their first album, 27 years. And like they still make albums that are, as much as an album can be a hit nowadays, they still make albums that are relevant. They still have radio. They still have airplay when they release a new album. I can't think of another rock band that's been able to do that. Like there's still, I mean, rock bands from the 80s are still touring and stuff, but I'm saying as far as like actually having albums that resonate with the general public. And you're actually hearing like new songs on top 40 radio. The Foo Fighters are the only one I can really think of. I think Linkin Park would have been there, you know, unfortunately.
Yeah,
unfortunately,
right.
You know, the lead singer passed away. But I don't know. I was trying to think of somebody even close to them. Maybe Shinedown, but Shinedown's only been around like half the time the Foo Fighters have. So they might get there. So it's just interesting. It's interesting that like rock is just still like, all these years later, it's kind of the bastard stepchild of the music industry, which is unfortunate because there's a lot of great bands out there that are putting out really good music still. So that was kind of an interesting thing to me. That's something I took away from it that I wasn't expecting to. I was just expecting to be like, oh, this is funny. It's extremely gory. But I will say it's in a comic book kind of way. Like it's more like it's not like in a dark way. It's more just like, let's see how much blood we can throw at the screen and let's see how cool we can make these effects. It's that kind of, it's more fun, I guess. The beheadings are fun, if that's possible.
Nice.
But no,
Nice.
but it's a blast. If you have any interest in it, go see it. Cause I mean, you're going to have a good time. And like I said, if you're a Foo Fighter fan that's kind of on the preface of going to see it or not, I would say go see it based on the Foo Fighter fans I watched it with because they had a blast. So that's at Studio 666, which is now in theaters.
Nice.
I mean, honestly, when are beheadings?
I know,
not
exactly.
fun?
Exactly.
You know, I mean, really.
BTS endorsing beheadings.
Yes, decapitation approved. Ian, what do you got?
I have The French Dispatch, which we had a Wes Anderson discussion a couple of weeks back, I think, and how interesting it would be if The French Dispatch was your first Wes Anderson film to watch. I am so glad that was not the case for me. I don't know how I would feel about this movie if it was the first exposure to Wes Anderson, but I think I loved it. I 100% liked it. There's no doubt about that. I think I loved it, but it is so unrestrained. It is unhinged. It's just
It's yet so very hinged. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of both things somehow.
Did it get any Oscar nominations?
No, not a single. I don't think he got a single one. I could be wrong. I'll go ahead and look that up, but keep talking.
It is a masterpiece. It is an absolute achievement that he's managed to pull such an incohesive story into cohesion. Because it does work. It's a lot. It's like your favorite dessert and you have it every meal for an entire day. It's so much Wes Anderson. But it has every actor that ever was born ever in it as well. I liked the switch between black and white and color. It makes sense in this movie, unlike a few others. Bill Murray is perfectly calm, which is always unsettling. I like all of the vignettes. I think it finishes with the strongest one by far. But yeah, I don't know when I'm going to watch it. I don't know. Whenever I finish watching a new movie, I always think, when will I watch that again? And that's kind of my final say on how much I loved it. And I don't know if that's right or wrong. I don't know when I'll come back to it. There are the Grand Budapest Hotel I want to watch right this minute. I want to watch it again. That just stuck with me. I liked it. I don't know if I'm going to feel the urge to watch it again, though.
We watched this together last night, right? Wasn't that last night?
Yeah, a double feature of The French Dispatch and Her.
Yes, we watched Her afterwards.
Oh, wow.
So I was excited. I was excited to watch it again, and mostly for just the incredible composition that Wes Anderson does, and just looking at all the details in the frames. Their rewatchability has several different reasons you could find something rewatchable. And with Wes Anderson movies, for me, it really is like the, spot the artistic framing,
Every single shot is just masterfully, and literally every single shot is masterfully put together. It's a work of art.
You just notice stuff, how it's framed, the corners it's in, how he's using aspect ratio and color in this. Is I don't know that it makes any more sense than this is the aspect ratio in the color that I want for this because I think it looks the most how I want it to look. I can't find like any kind of metaphorical rhyme or reason for why he's cutting to different aspect ratios when he is, other than this is the one that fits this shot the best. So it's really fun to rewatch for that for me, but I really like it. Yeah, I really like the movie.
If you could get inside someone's head for a day, man, I would love to be in Wes Anderson's. I just want to know what that dude's thinking about.
Oh,
I mean, just the creative 100%. Energy coming out of him is insane. I just rewatched it again not that long ago. It held up really well for me. And it's just such random stuff that I think about, like Owen Wilson riding the bicycle, like just talking about everything. I love that. I don't know. It's so much fun. You talked about Grand Budapest Hotel a couple weeks ago, right? Okay.
Yeah, I did. That's what got us off on the Wes Anderson.
No,
that's fine.
convo.
I was for some reason I was thinking, didn't he already talk about this? But then I remembered it was Grand Budapest Hotel. So yeah, no.
Yeah, I love that movie.
And I think Aaron mentioned then how it's just his last like 6 films or whatever. It's like an insane streak that he's on right now. I guess starting with what? Was it Fantastic Mr. Fox we started with,
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. That streak includes I Love Dogs, which a lot of people aren't necessarily as high on, but I love that movie.
That'll be my next one, I think, to tick off.
Yeah. Very nice. That is available, by the way, on HBO Max, if you want to check it out. And Jonathan singing their new theme song.
I wrote it.
Oh, you weren't supposed to reveal that until the season 2 opener.
That's right. That's right. My Beyond the Sins is Severance, the TV show Severance. This is on Apple TV Plus. Stars Adam Scott as someone who has partaken in a new technology of the future where you can have your work memory severed from your life memory. So the idea is, in order to create a better work-life balance, there's basically 2 versions of you. The one version that only knows what happens at work, and the one version that only knows what happens outside of work.
So interesting.
So it is extremely interesting concept, and the show deals with it, I think, in very realistic and interesting ways. The idea for the work part of you is torture, right? Like all you know is
you never get any leisure time,
right?
So you have no memory of the other life?
No, at all. It's completely severed.
I guarantee this ends up in an affair of some sort.
Possibly. It's not there yet.
Do they know they're doing it, though? Because they have to volunteer for it, right?
Yes, correct.
Oh, man.
It is voluntary to a point, which I
for one of you.
That's the point.
Right, sorry.
Yes. So and the idea of it being voluntary, where the work part maybe is done with this, but the home part's is like the one that gets to make the decision. And so you get.
But it's still you.
So okay, I don't want to. No. I don't want to spoil too much, but I will say there's a moment where somebody wants to resign, and then they read that the resignation was denied because their outie, which is what they call their out person, was like, no, this is great. So, but it's the same person.
That is fascinating.
So the concept is really great. I'm enjoying that. I'm enjoying the
like
show.
Tuvix.
But
it is absolutely nothing like Tuvix.
So I mentioned Adam Scott. You've also got John Turturro is in the office as well. Patricia Arquette, who's incredible. Christopher Walken shows up. So this, by the way, is directed by Ben Stiller, who does great work. And his last was, I think, Escape at Dannemora.
Some fascinating TV work and stuff. I actually read an interview with him after he said when Zoolander 2 bombed, he was just like, you know what, I'm just going to do what I want to do. Maybe we're lucky that wasn't a hit.
Yeah, huge high recommend for Escape at Dannemora and Severance so far. I think I'm 3 episodes in.
Yeah, I think that's all they have. I need to watch it. So, hey, but do you remember that show with Christian Slater? This is like maybe 10, 12 years ago, where he was a spy, but they did this where they erased his memory when he left work. So he didn't, so he couldn't, and it was basically like, so he couldn't give up his identity, like, because he didn't know that he was a spy. Wow. And then he would go into, I think,
Christian Slater?
It only lasted like a season. I think it was.
Oh, I'm thinking Mr. Robot.
No.
It's not Mr. Robot.
It was like My Own Worst Enemy or something like that. And it didn't last very long. So, but it was just a network show. But it was something like that. I could be remembering it somewhat wrong because it's been a while. But it was something like that. Like
My Own Worst Enemy, 2008.
And they would like erase his memory. And then so when he went home, he just thought he had like he was like an accountant or whatever. And that way he would never give up that he was a spy. That was just kind of something they agreed to do. I don't know. So that's what that made me think of.
Well, there you go. By the way, 0 Oscar nominations for several amazing movies this year, including The French Dispatch, also Pig, Mass, The Last Duel, Malignant, sure. The Green Knight, sure. Let's just let's just throw them all in. Not a single Oscar nom.
Escape Room 2, Tournament of Champions.
Didn't even get one. Didn't get one. Did not even get one. Well, there you go. Severance is on Apple TV Plus. The French Dispatch is on HBO Max. And Studio 666 is in theaters. That's going to wrap it up for Behind the Scenes this week. Don't forget to make sure you're subscribed and go ahead and leave a comment or rating as well. If you've got anything you want to send us to us, you can mail it to P.O. Box 881 Republic, Missouri 65738. Hang out with us on Twitter. I'm at Aaron Dicer. He is at Wits End.
WHITTSINNED.
And he is at Sam Loomis 13. So for Jonathan Watkins, Ian Whittington, Quizmaster Burke Bacharach, and myself, we will see you next week.
Happy National If Pets Had Thumbs Day.
Thanks for listening. Send any feedback to bts@cinemasins.com and be sure to subscribe, rate, and comment. Find more ways to connect by visiting cinemasins.com/BTS.
Calendar Man.
I watched Quiz Show, Jonathan.
Oh, I assume you liked it.
I loved it. It was so good.
Yeah, it's a great movie. It's my favorite.
Oh, shoot. That's my recommend.
Movie of 94.
Way to go, Ian.
No, I have another one. It's fine.
Way to go.
Yeah.
I saw Uncharted. That was not going to be my Beyond the Sins.
No.
Did you guys see that?
No.
Yeah.
I kind of weirdly enjoyed enough of it to where I was kind of like, yeah, that's passable. But it was just...
It is one of those movies. It's definitely one of those movies where if you just give yourself to it, you can have some fun. But it's dumb. I mean, there's so much dumb in that movie.
No. I mean, I guess. But I don't... Well, I really don't think Tom Holland can act. I've just come to that conclusion that he's not a great actor. One thing I've noticed about him, though, that I can't look away from now is that he clenches his jaw a lot. And I don't know if that's to get to his American accent. I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Sure.
I don't know if that's but once I noticed that, especially I noticed it a lot in No Way Home, but I really noticed it in this, and I just couldn't stop seeing that jaw clenching, and it was getting on my nerves.
It's just an English thing that we do to make sure we maintain superior at all times.
I think Tom Holland is charismatic. I like watching him on screen. I think he has this adorable energy to him that I really like. But I wonder if he just kind of, I don't know if he has a lot of range. Like anytime I see him trying
think that's
to...
probably, maybe that's a better way to put it. Because I think he can be very serviceable.
Mm-hmm.
Like he can, he's not unwatchable. Like I wouldn't say. But
No.
there is just, I don't know.
But there are plenty of superstar actors that don't have a lot of range.
It's kind of like I guess the main thing is when a movie is not working that great, he's not going to make it better.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to turn up just to watch him. What was that serious film that he did a couple years ago?
Well, he did Cherry.
Yeah, that was it. Was he good in that?
No.
But like my example would be like Tom Cruise, like even in like terrible movies like The Mummy,
Mm-hmm.
like he almost makes it work.
And he's another actor that doesn't necessarily have a lot of range. He's always Tom Cruise in the movies
but
he does.
Still, I don't know. I think he has more than we give him credit for. I think he's just found because like he's like Rain Man's a good example where like he's actually the better actor in that movie. Like he gives the better performance in that movie.
Tropic
but
Thunder.
It's obviously not.
Yeah.
Huh?
Tropic Thunder.
Days of Thunder. Yeah. Cole Trickle.
No, Tropic Thunder.
Oh, Tropic Thunder. Yeah, exactly. I mean, and Minority Report. And I mean, he can.
I just think the last 15 years he hasn't shown that range. He's just
doing
Mission Impossible.
No, he's doing. Yeah,
Jack
and that's
Reacher
fine.
and that kind
But
of
like,
same character.
If you go watch like Born on the 4th of July is a great example of where he's acting.
Yep.
More
No, you're right.
So.
You're absolutely right.
What about the Devil All the Time?
Magnolia.
I didn't see that either, but nope.
What?
Devil All the Time. I didn't enjoy it.
Okay, we're getting a consensus. This just in: Aaron hates Tom Holland.
Outside of Spider-Man and now Uncharted, I don't know that I've seen him in anything else. Lip Sync Battle. That was pretty fun.
He was amazing.
Oh,
in
that's
that.
incredible.
Yeah.
That's some range. You want to talk about range?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Where's that performance?
And I like him and Zendaya together, which they're together in real life, so maybe that's part of why they work on screen. Although that's not always the case. I mean,
Acting.
Like Warren Beatty and Annette Bening have no
do like a Tu Wong Fu or something. Like after seeing that lip sync.
Yeah.
battle,
Oh,
like,
yeah. Or they should do a Rihanna movie. He should just play Rihanna. No, that probably wouldn't work.
No,
can't do that.
Lots
Can't
of
do
reasons
that.
why that's a nope.
That's a Rihanna. No.
I got something to say. I want the truth.
I'm listening.
Was it just me that thought Sutton Foster had huge Mary Tyler Moore energy?
No.
I was like, this is, if Mary Tyler Moore was an incredible singer and dancer, which she might have been. I don't know of anything she's done that in, but I was like, man, Sutton Foster just like I
Was
can
she
see
already like a? Is she already like a Broadway person? 'Cause,
Yes.
Like
Yeah, she's won awards
a
and
huge
stuff.
applause,
Yeah.
and I didn't know who she was.
Yeah.
And because I've never seen Younger, and I don't go watch a lot of Broadway, so I assumed that was the
Yeah.
case. Did you like Music Man?
I did. Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I did too.
Quite a bit. It somehow manages to overcome the poorly aged plot and dynamics of the musical.
So you just went by yourself. No
I
one
did.
went and saw it. You and Danae didn't go see it again. Okay.
Yeah, I
didn't
I
think
just
so.
went to the Thursday night show by my lonesome.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to be spending enough time with him. I thought I didn't want to do another show.
What you didn't want to drop another $600 to go see Hugh Jackman again?
Another, yeah. No, I did not.
Oh,
he was great.
That's right. CinemaSins covered your show, didn't they?
Yes.
CinemaSins didn't cover my show.
Nope. Just be better.
Yeah. Quit going to your kid's wedding.
Yes.
I got to when I come though. I got to come over early enough to see Ian like freak out that I saw him sleeping.
Yes. Yep.
Yes.
I wouldn't have people watch me sleep.
What? No, I'm not sleeping. What? I'm here. What?
I don't sleep. What is this sleep you speak of?
Ian, it's 5 a.m. Why are you so alert? No, it's just,
You like
just me.
have like a glass. You have like a cup of like a saucer of tea or whatever right by you just to pretend like you were drinking
A saucer of tea?
I don't know. What do you like a mug? I don't know. What do you call like the little?
I'm like, ever since the 2100s, I have 20. That was weird. The 2000s.
No, I'm thinking of like the little like when your daughter has like.
Yeah,
well,
little
you guys
teacup.
don't have daughters.
Teacup and
but,
saucer.
Well, teacup.
The
I
saucer
couldn't
is the
think
bit that's
of
underneath.
Teacup.
Yeah. Teacup and saucer.
I just like the idea that he's drinking tea out of the saucer like a cat. Well, I got to tell you, I love tea the way Ian makes it.
We had a little tea gathering last night. I made tea for the dices. And I brought my own tea bags from England.
I will take your word for it. But I've tried enough tea in my life. I know I don't like it. So
yeah, I've never really enjoyed it either. But
but like, I mean, like, it makes me gag.
Well,
like,
there you
I
go.
hate it.
I won't force it. I mean, when you're sleeping, I won't get a funnel and pour it into your mouth.
That's why I hate when people say, like, they're like, well, you like Dr. Pepper, so why don't you like root beer? And I'm like, I don't, because they're two fucking different drinks. I mean,
because they taste nothing alike.
Well, and some people try to tell you Diet Coke and Coke don't taste any different. Like, no, they do. They taste a lot different.
They do.
Yeah. And people even say that about Diet Dr. Pepper. Diet Dr. Pepper is the closest to tasting like the regular, but it still doesn't taste like it. Because I have a hard time drinking regular Dr. Pepper now because I'm so used to diet. So
in a blind tasting, I couldn't tell you which was which, but I could tell you which wasn't which. Which two weren't the same.
Wait, what?
You couldn't tell like, which is regular, which is diet?
No, but I could tell you that they were different.
Because you can taste.
Well, okay, so that's just a matter of knowledge then.
Yeah.
Because if you can tell they're different, you can tell which is which. It's just a matter of training yourself in knowledge.
Exactly, yeah. But some people are like, oh, if you put Pepsi and Coke together, you can't tell that they're different. I was like, no, I can. I just can't remember which one is which.
Artificial sweetener is like, it's more, I guess, potent, maybe? I don't know. I don't know if sweeter is the right word, but it's a lot more like it hits you. You're just like... Like, you don't necessarily taste the sugar as much you do with Pepsi, but like with Coke, for instance, like I don't know that I necessarily taste like the sugar. Whereas if you drink Diet Coke, it's just like somebody just poured a packet of Splenda into your mouth or something.
You can hear me during this part. That's not usually the case.
I can. That's weird. What do we usually say? What do you usually say? Just humming. I do hear you on your track.
Glad to be free of those bozos for 30 seconds before I have to talk to them again. No, not that. Definitely not that.
I honestly don't know if you guys are doing a bit or if I'm just.
Welcome to BTS.
Always assume it's a bit, but that wasn't. That was one of the strange ones that technically was not a bit.
I want to tell JCD, Ian is actually not in the basement. He's just so creepy that he made his room look just like Aaron's. So
yeah, I Tim Vermeered my office to make it look exactly the same as Aaron's place. Yeah,
Tim Vermeered. What a pull!
Yeah, you made that a verb.
I did. I
Tim Vermeered it.
I Tim verbed it.
So they are doing the Critics' Choice Awards.
Yeah, we're doing them on the 13th.
Oh, I thought they just moved.
Yeah, they just postponed them. It'll be interesting. We've never been this close to the Oscars. We're 2 weeks before the Oscars. Usually we're one of the first award shows with the awards body that shall not be named to do the awards, and this year we'll be one of the last. So it's interesting stuff.
That's really cool. So they're having it live though, where they usually have it. And is Tay Diggs going to be there?
Yeah, Tay
Diggs, man, I don't know how he got that gig, but he kept it.
He's great.
He's so good.
Yeah, he's great. That's why he kept it. But he's being joined by what's her name? Critics' Choice hosts.
Debbie Gibson. I'm just naming random people.
Margot Robbie.
No.
Saoirse Ronan.
No, but
Shawshank Redemption.
Just keep guessing.
Chicago.
Carmen Electra. That would get me to watch at least.
Let's see.
Joanna Lumley.
Jenny McCarthy.
What? You got it. It's Jenny McCarthy.
We're just gonna keep randomly guessing, even though now we know. Like it'll just be throughout the show. We'll just be like Chelsea Clinton.
Yep. Chelsea Grammer.
John McCain's daughter, whose name I don't remember.
Lucy McLean?
That's a fictional character.
John McCain's daughter has the last name McClane?
Oh, sorry. I thought you said John McClane.
No,
I thought you said John McClane's daughter.
I might have accidentally. I meant McCain. And I just saw Ian's crotch. Okay, that was awesome.
Outtake. We're going to get into the show with some comment sections, keeping tabs, but first, we'll do the SinSide Scoop. Why did I just name all the segments? I never do that on this show. I never do that on this show.
Why are we starting with the comments?
Nope, that is not something I ever say on this show.
Jodie Foster.